What's good in the hood? This the drop with SA Doc. Yeah. Today is February 27th, 2023. Hope you find yourself in good spirits and good health. Peace and love to you and yours. Today's show is called The War of the Roses. Yeah, so The War of the Roses was this 1989 movie with Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas. Now, while I'm getting into this War of the Roses movie, kind of feeling this song right here. It's one of the new songs I'm going to be dropping soon on the EP, so y'all getting a sneak peek right here at fresh new music. Yeah. Get your loot up. It's a star that represents who you are, feel me? West Coast fire. Down to 213, then 702. Got a thing on my hip, come and get it. Kill your vibe if you let it. Mind of a menace. Yeah, so a little sneak peek into some new music. Yeah, so real quick while we're on the subject, I have music out. You can look up my music on YouTube, DOCWEL, Docwell. You can look me up on Spotify. You can look me up on Apple Music. And I have tons of music out. So I'm really excited about this new EP that's going to be dropping real soon. A lot of fresh new music. So, like this one meme, it said, it said, don't forget about me when you make it or when you get rich or something like that. And then the other dude's like, well, don't forget to support me while I'm trying to make it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be asking for no damn handouts and shit, if you ain't showing love from the get. So yeah, back into to the show. The War of the Roses, Kathleen Turner, Michael Douglas, 1989 movie, and it's a couple, and they have everything they want. She's a stay-at-home mom or homemaker, and they have this big house. He works some kind of corporate job, and they just they kind of live in this loveless marriage, right? So on paper it looks real good, but they have kids and all that, and they're just not happy. They grow resentful, in having to live up to the day-to-day roles that they have. Him having to go to work, and then her having to cook and all this and clean the house, and it becomes redundant and boring. So they decide to get a divorce, and they both want to get divorced, but they both want to keep the house. And so they both go to lawyers, and the lawyers tell them not to leave the house. And I think you might see some advice on TikTok about this, but so the lawyers tell them both not to leave the house. If you want to keep the house, if you want to fight for the house, you're going to have to stay there and just cohabitate like roommates. And that's pretty much, the plot of the movie is all the stuff that happens while they're both trying to cohabitate in this house that they're fighting over in their divorce, right? And I want to say that they both die or one of them dies. I don't know. I don't want to give it away. Watch the movie, So, but so the War of the Roses, the Battle of the Sexes, it's not something that is new, right? And I think there's so much interest in trying to understand the opposite sex. Everyone's looking for love, and nothing much has changed in 10,000 years. We just have different ways and different means to achieve our goal. I was having a conversation earlier about the party line back in the days, right? You remember calling and you may or may not, right? Because there's certain folk in the Hispanic community, you call the party line, and if you were young and looking to hang out with like different groups of the opposite sex, week over week, you call the party line and try to meet somebody, and your friends get with their friends, and y'all hang out, and then same thing next weekend or whatnot. So there's all these different, as time progresses and technology progresses, there's just different ways for us to achieve our ultimate goal. We all want to be with someone, most of us. Some people don't, I guess. There's cat ladies and cat men that you'll see them in hoarders. But most everyone wants to be with someone. Even if you don't want to be in a relationship or you think it's too much hassle, you still crave the intimacy of being with someone, and and you crave that, right? So I think most of us want to be in some sort of relationship. We all sort of want that. So, but they're very difficult. I think there's so much misinformation going around, and everyone's looking for a one-up. Maybe everyone's looking for a bigger and better deal. I don't know. But, it's a hot topic. Everyone's out there putting out content about, do this if you want a successful relationship, top 10 red flags, and they go both ways. Look at these red flags. If she does any of these things, you need to end it. And then same, with guys, right? So if he does any of these things, end it. If he wants to split the bills 50-50. There's just so much information out there. And it just confuses people, I think, right? Because I think before, and you can call it what you want to call it, but I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, right? If the old arrangements of doing things was right or wrong, I'm not saying if it is. But what I am saying is there was less confusion, and you kind of understood, right? Either, I do want relationships, and this is what I bring to the table. This is what I'm going to do. This is what everyone does that's in a relationship. Or I'm just not going to be, right? I'm also not going to try to get the benefits of a relationship, right? Because there's too many people that are trying to get the benefits of a relationship without putting forth the effort that you need to put for you to have those gains and advantages from the relationship. There's a lot of people trying to cheat the code. They want relationship privileges, but you're not giving relationship loyalty. You got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. So, some things one thing that I saw that was in the news was Ciara. And I guess he's got like this new song, and there was some kind of backlash about it. And I did have it saved here. Oh, here we go. I guess it's a new song, Ciara new song, promoting independence or independent lifestyle. Here's a clip. And I think it's something that she released on social media, like a behind the scenes.
Alright, so Ciara has put out a little promo of her new song promoting independence, and women are upset. They're like, yo, how could you, Ciara? We trying to get like you. You're over here trying to keep us single, but yet you're a happily married woman with kids.
Yeah, that part.
This ain't it. But let's check out some of the comments. This woman right here says, Ciara, please stop this. We're tired of being independent. We want a life like yours. Please stop promoting this type of music when you're going straight home to get loved on. Exactly. Let's check out the next one. The audacity with the big ass ring on your finger. Nobody don't feel like being independent and paying all these bills by themselves.
Right.
And women are starting to come to the realization that the whole independent lifestyle that the feminist movement and media has pushed upon them is really not worth the struggle, headache, and problems that actually comes with it. This woman says, I love Ciara, but it's obvious when she is just trying to make a song for the sake of making a hit, talking about all the girls who don't need no man, like, we all grown and want the same as you, sis. But what is this really? Yeah, we all know that she's trying to make a hit, but you can't tell women what it is that they actually need to hear. You gotta tell them what they want to hear, right? Because that's what sells. Each individual woman has to go through her own journey and path in life to come to the realization that, you know what, maybe this city girl lifestyle isn't what's best for me long term. Which is why we're getting these comments, because 9 times out of 10, these women that are leaving them are older women. Women that have aged and been through some experiences. Women that have aged. Why do kept ass women with rich men always...
I'm gonna go ahead and pause that. So I guess, yeah, that's Ciara's new song. I don't know what it's called, and to be honest, I have nothing against Ciara. I think Ciara's a great artist from the early 2000s. There's a few Ciara songs that are dope. I think I like the one with Ludacris she had. About riding slow or something like that. It's pretty dope. And then, of course, her, the mainstream hits that she had. But let's keep it 100. Let's keep it a buck here. Ciara hasn't had a hit song in how long? How long has it been since, Ciara had a hit song? I mean, I don't know. It's been a long time. And even in hearing that snippet from that song, I mean, does it sound hot? I don't know. I mean, did she just sit down with her producer and, kind of discuss, like, what kind of songs should we write? That's right. I feel like writing an empowerment song, about independence and not needing men. Fuck men. As if, like, we need more of that. I think we've been hearing this, men ain't shit narrative for quite long enough already. Where I think, again, we're just, really spreading information. It's like confusing people as to what the norm should be. I think everyone's kind of seeking something as the norm. Like, what's normal? What should I be? Right? I think maybe it's too much independent thinking. Where it's like folks don't know what to think. What's normal? Well, whatever you think is normal. Oh, okay. I like fucking goats, and I think that's normal. Right? I don't, but never tried it. I don't know. I've heard things, but again, it's never, been something that came to mind. But again, people are looking for what's normal. What should I be? They're looking for a blueprint, an outline, something, guidance. Please tell me what's normal. Life is so complicated. There's so many choices. What should I do with my life? Right? And here Ciara is saying, you don't need no man. And clearly she's got a man. She's got Russell Wilson, and then the women in the comments made a lot of sense in saying, hey girl, you're promoting all this independent thinking and all this, and then you're going home to get loved on. Right? So some of the things that the women said in those comments So here's Ciara saying, you don't need men. And you hear these women saying, yes, we need to get loved on. We need help with the bills. Because guess what, Miss Ciara? We're not millionaires. So that kind of brings me to some of the advice that's being given is not it's not intended for the consumer of this advice, because the people that are consuming the advice are regular women and regular men. So all the influencers that are out there giving this advice about what to do, you're giving advice to more than likely, folks that are living paycheck to paycheck. They don't have it like you to just risk everything and put everything on the line. They don't have your history, and maybe they don't want the same thing that you want. But you have all these influencers just pushing their agendas and their narratives and trying to get more followers. So they're trying to cater to feelings that are already there. But I think that independent song it doesn't really fit, because I don't think anyone feels trapped in a relationship. This is not 1950. I'm so trapped in my relationship, but I can't go get a job because there's no opportunities out there. I think there's more women working than men. The statistics, if we look them up, I think there's probably more women that are employed. And I want to say, unless you're in the top tier of earners, right, the top 1% or 5%, whatever it is, we're talking about normal guys, normal women. And I think the women, as far as in that normal bracket, are out earning the men. So here you are, pushing this narrative about, man ain't shit, and, you gotta, power up and all this and that, and these men are in power. No, most men are not in power. There's maybe a very small percentage of men that are in power. The regular man has it as bad, if not worse, than you do. Okay, so things are tough for both sexes. Again, the War of the Roses. Watch that movie because they put each other through hell. They really do. It's a fun movie. But these influencers that are just pushing a narrative. I'm real big on getting to the root cause of things, no matter how uncomfortable it is. So I will expose, all these fake influencers that are out here pushing bad information, i.e., an example. Derrick Jaxon is one of them, right? And Derrick Jaxon, if you look him up, Jackson is Jaxn, Derrick, like you'd spell Derek. And he was, a few years back, he was a big influencer, and he'd go around making videos, kind of checking men. Like, men, if you're not doing this, you're not a real man, and your woman should leave you. And ladies, if your man ain't doing this, then, you need to find you a real man. Right? And catering, and he had a huge following. He was very successful from catering, and taking advantage, in my opinion, because you're out here giving bad advice, man. It's like a sales coach just giving you really crappy sales advice. I managed the sales team before. So I can tell you, right, what works and what doesn't work. When, one person is trying to get another person to do something, so if you're trying to get a man to commit to you and be good to you and get loved on, like the women in the comments on that Ciara video, you want a good man to come in and split the bills with you, right? Don't follow bullshit advice from Derrick Jaxon wannabes. because that's going to lead you the wrong way. That's advice that makes you feel good in the moment. It's almost like ice cream. It's like sugar. That's why they call it sugar mouth, right? Don't sugar mouth me. They call it sugar mouthing because that's exactly what it is. That sweet talk. Oh, feels so good, right? Somebody bullshits you. Like, tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Yeah. Yeah, lies are, just lie to me. Put me back in the Matrix. Reality for the birds. But you ultimately you want good information. You want something that's actually going to help to improve your life. And if you're going to consume bullshit lies, okay, well, consume it, but also eat your veggies, eat your steak and potatoes. Listen to Essay Doc, and tell your friends to do the same. Because I'm not going to bullshit you. And I understand that hearing the truth about things isn't, the easiest to digest. I'll try to pour a little honey on it. Try to pour a little syrup. Try to add a little sugar on top. But yeah, so these guys that are out here trying to cater, for one, they're pimping you. This is stuff that a pimp would do and a pimp would say. It's weak game too. Trying to tell you how to hustle these tricks, these men, versus you really learning the skills that you need to attract a real partner. Not just someone that you want to come in and check your boxes, someone that loves on me, someone that helps me to pay the bills, someone that makes up for all the shit my ex did to me and makes me feel worthy again and give me therapy. Right? That's not fair to him. So I'm talking about, you actually attracting someone that you'd really be happy with and having a real relationship, because you don't want to attract someone that you can just walk all over, or that'll do absolutely anything for you. Right? So I did have some stuff written down. And I was going to go in and talk about cuckolding, because I saw this video of, what's her name? Kareen Steffens, Superhead. She was like a video vixen back in the days. And apparently she dated Lil Wayne. But this woman they called her Superhead, by the way. And this girl, she wrote a book, Kareen Steffens, I think her name is. They call her Superhead. And again, no hate, no disrespect. I'm not hating on the game. All right. I'll meet you wherever you're at. But just don't lie about where you're at. She doesn't lie about her game. She accepts what she does. And she's happy doing that. She wrote a book. She took advantage of her situation. So good and great. But so she did an interview and she was on a podcast, and apparently she was married and she had a son from someone else, and so her husband lived in her home. She's the earner. She's got the money, and so she let him know from the very beginning, if Lil Wayne calls me, I'm gonna go. It could be the middle of the night. If my phone rings and it's Lil Wayne, I'm leaving, okay? And I may be gone for 1 or 2 days. Right? This was their agreement. They agreed to this. He agreed to it. He allowed it. Right? So let's call that situation what it is. That's a cuckold situation. that man is a cuck. Now, if you don't know what that is, then you need to look up the definition, right? Look up the definition so you know what you're talking about. I actually had it pulled up here. and then and then I lost it. So if you look in Wikipedia, cuckold, Cuckold. So a cuckold is the husband of an adulterous wife. The wife of an adulterous husband is a cuck queen, cuckwayne. And that's not as common. But cuckold is the husband of an adulterous wife. So a man with an unfaithful wife is a cuckold. So, and I guess there's like fetishes, right, where the men are just so accepting they even watch. So, again, Karine Stefan, she's accepting this situation. She accepts it. He accepts it. They're all aware. It's out in the open. They're making a decision to live with that. I don't think she's married anymore. I don't think she's still married to the guy. I don't think she cares. I don't think Karine Steffans is someone that can actually bond with someone, nor do I think she's someone that is looking for bonding in that way that we are, or maybe I am, right? I appreciate the bonding, knowing that I can rely on you, knowing that you're not going to lie to me, okay? Knowing that you're not stepping out on me. I want that. There's a lot that goes, that's attached to that as far as reasons why I don't, want you giving up the cat to, anyone while you're with me. There's a lot of psychology behind that, but, and again, that's just my preference because I choose not to be a cuck. So don't try to cuck me. Be honest with me. If that's what you want, you can find someone that's accepting of that. So I say that because a lot of these influencers are basically pushing the message that, these men should just put up with everything. I saw a TikTok and someone was out in the street like doing interviews, and he asked this girl, he's like, would you rather be with a machista or a mandilon? And she goes, a mandilon. And he's like, why? Because you can do whatever you want. And the guy goes, do you have a Sancho? She goes, yeah. Do you have more than one Sancho? She goes, hell yeah. So again, she's choosing to be with the mandilon. And if you don't know what that is, the mandilon is like, it's an apron. And in Spanish culture, a man that, that wears an apron, he's a mandilon. He's a pushover, And a machista, well, it's just a macho, maybe she was joking. I don't know. But that's the narrative that's being, pushed. And I think you should find, you shouldn't be this macho guy that is controlling or demeaning or anything like that. But I definitely don't think that you should be a pushover. And this goes for men or women. I don't think either men or women you should be a pushover. But there should be some good communication skills so both of you can get your needs met. Misogynist, that's what macho means. Or machista is a misogynist, And speaking about, misogyny and feminism, and the War of the Roses, which it should really be called the War of the Pills. If you're not aware of what they call like red pill or blue pill, and this is something that's been, going on for years. And yeah, the movie, the Matrix movie, right? Blue pill, red pill. And there's even a general term in regarding the red pill, right? So it doesn't have necessarily anything to do with the Matrix. It's, if you accept, things the way that they are, the status quo, then you're blue pill. If you kind of opt to think differently and creatively and want to create a different outcome, then you're more red pill. In that sense, and I'm definitely more red pill in that way. But in relationships and men and women, red pill means that, these guys are kind of hip to the way that relationships work, and they no longer see it profitable to be in a relationship or worth dealing with marriage and getting fucked over and having someone take half your shit and your kids. And they just opt not to do it. So there's this whole group of men, that consider themselves red pill. And if you've never heard this before, MGTOW, men going their own way. I mean, it just sounds like a bunch of bitter men, frustrated and fed up, and they don't know what else to do, right? So they just give up, which is definitely not masculine, man. It's not masculine for you just to give up. And then blue pill are the folks that, just accept things as they are. They accept society as it is. And if society tells you to be a cuck, then they'll be a cuck, because they're just, they just go along with the status quo. They don't want to rock the boat. They're in the matrix and they like it. So that's blue pill and red pill. If you did not know that there's this whole movement of pissed off guys that, I don't want to say that they hate women. I don't think they hate women. I just think they're so confused and they don't know what else to do, but this is what they're doing, right? And there's some things that some red pill guys say that's helpful for guys about you being your best self and, and I guess watching out for some of the games that are being played. Because there's definitely a lot of guys that are getting played. And I would argue that there's more guys that are getting played than women. I would argue that. And I'll tell you why. And I think the ladies will like this too. Okay, ladies, who's smarter? Guys or girls? Who's the smartest of the sexes? And we're talking about, being smart and quick-witted, quick thinking, right? Who's got the better brain? Men or women? Come on. Tell me. Give up? I think it's very arguable that women are very quick thinkers in the fact that your brain is just wired differently, where you can access information and not have to, box up all the information, like compartmentalize, right? Like men. I was seeing something about someone was speaking about don't interrupt a man, not because it's rude, or the reason why a man gets upset when you interrupt him is because literally them sticking to a thought and then communicating it is harder for them. So when you interrupt him and he's like mid-thought, it's like, fuck. He can't get back to it, right? You ask him, okay, go ahead, continue. He's like, no, I can't now. I forgot what the fuck I was saying. So basically she was saying that men are slower in this capacity to communicate and articulate than women are. To the point that, there's a scientific reason why if you interrupt a man, it's going to like piss him off because he's not going to be able to get back to his thought, apparently, per what she said. And so that's what she says, don't interrupt the man. You're just going to like fuck up his whole thought process. Especially if you care about communicating or hearing what he has to say, right? Because I'm sure you do. If you're in a relationship with him and, communication is the goal, then that's probably not what you want to do. So back to this game thing. Who's got the better game? So women have the better game. Women are the masters of the game because a lot of guys argue like, no, I'm the prize. And the women say, no, I'm the prize. Well, yeah, women are the prize because women have the pussy. So yeah, you're the prize. That's why you see girls on Instagram that have 100,000 followers and they work at McDonald's, but they're cute or whatever, or just something about them that just a lot of guys find attractive, and for us guys, it's just not, it's not the same, not to that level or frequency, no. So being that they're so sought after, then they would have a understanding of the game because they have more men that are pursuing them. So they play the game a lot more often than men. The average man doesn't have a bunch of girls in his DMs and he's not having 50 conversations, where she has 50 guys in her DM. She probably goes out on a bunch of dates. She has a lot of opportunities to sharpen her skills and her game. And she sees guy after guy after guy what this guy tries, his pickup lines, this guy's pickup lines, the similarities between those two. So they learn a pattern of behavior that men just don't, because you don't have the experience. So you have to be like one of these pickup guys or if you happen to just be just a natural player or just a guy that is a player, right? But those guys are a very small percentage. Most regular guys don't have a freaking clue of what they're doing. And even guys that are players, I mean, they're not going to be, I don't want to say they're not going to be that up to par, because they may, if the guy's just like a real player, and he's good at his game, and he preys on weak women, I guess, or naive women, broken women that just broke up with their man, and have really low self-esteem. But those guys are predators. Those guys are weak. Those guys don't have any game because it doesn't require much game to pick up a broken female or to manipulate a broken female, So, but there's a guy, a new guy that I saw on TikTok, and I think his name's Shark's Face or something like that. And he's some Hispanic dude. He's got gray hair. He looks older, right? And I don't want to say I'm older, but I'm in my 40s, and but this guy looks a little older. He doesn't look like a little kid. He doesn't look like young or in his 20s or even 30s. But I'm reminiscent of like a Derrick Jaxon, because this guy's sitting here trying to check men. You're trying to check the average Joe, man? Do you understand who's running the game on these streets? It's not the regular schmoes, man. These guys need game. Even if they're going to be better partners to some of these women, a man needs to understand the game. She understands the game. She gets hit on 20 times a day, man. She knows the game. You don't know the game. So for someone to get on social media and say, girl, I'm just going to teach you the game. Don't let these guys, fuck you over. Come on, man. For one, who are you directing that message to? And does it really align with that woman's goal of meeting a man who's high value and high status? She doesn't want a Joe Schmo, man. She wants a high value man. And you're giving her game on how to deal with schmoes? That's just bad game. You're not setting up these women to succeed. You're giving them bad information. Again, I used to be a sales manager. So I'm not going to sit here and encourage my team to blame the leads. They're getting good leads, they get bad leads. But if I have a salesperson that's just blaming the leads and he's burning through leads or burning through phone calls, Not one sale, and you're getting all these opportunities. It costs money to make that phone ring, man, or woman. And you're sitting here just blaming the customer on the other end of the phone of why you can't get a sale. Maybe it's you. Maybe we need to get you some skills and use some training. So whomever you're catering to, you need to hold them accountable. Now, Kevin Samuels was a savage. Rest in peace. He was a savage. But have you ever heard Kevin Samuels hold a man accountable? The men that will call his show? And how he broke it down to him with no mercy at all whatsoever. How much money do you make a year, sir? You make $30,000 a year. How tall are you? How much do you weigh? Do you have a big dick? Right? Because he's asking all the buying questions that women have. Right? They want to check the box. Is he 6 foot tall? 6+? Does he make a lot of money? Does he have a big dick? All these things. They just checking the boxes. So he's holding that man accountable. So the men in the audience and they call in, he's holding them accountable too. He goes, if I was a woman, I wouldn't want to be with you. You're broke, you're short, you're fat, and you got a small dick. Why would I want to be? He's putting himself in the woman's shoes, in the shoes of the buyer. Right? So I feel if you're going to be a woman's advocate, or you want to help women to get into better relationships and not suffer and keep hurting, right, then you want to help them think like a man thinks. To increase their understanding of their, whom they want to sell to, right? Or you want to get that sale, you want to get that relationship from that man. So you would want to understand how he thinks so you can get that sale. And then you can ask yourself, hey, do I have what they want? Because I want a good man. I don't want no regular man. Or maybe you got to settle for a regular man. I don't know. Depending on what you bring to the table. You can't buy a Rolls Royce with $1,000. Maybe $1,000 a month. Maybe an old one. Right? You finance it at those second chance finance dealerships. Or like a 20-year-old one, 20-year-old Rolls Royce. But yeah, so, challenge people to really put themselves in the other person's shoes so you can understand what they really want. Because I would challenge men to think the same way. Stop and think, man. It's like, it's not all about being macho. Like, think if you were her, if you were just, at home and, you weren't doing the same shit every single day. Maybe she does want to go out every once in a while. Maybe once a week, set up a date. But I would also give her the same advice. Say, hey, maybe he's just stressed out from work. Maybe as soon as he gets home from work, he doesn't want to hear a bunch of problems because he's been out in the streets solving problems all day. Right? So maybe give him an hour. Right? So there's a lot of learning to do so we can all have better lives. Us that want to be in relationships, that don't just want to be alone and be players when we're 60 and 70, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Again, if that's what you want to do, watch Wedding Crashers. There's a guy in the movie in Wedding Crashers that he's like this old player. And I think Hall Pass. Hall Pass is another one. There's an old player in the movie. But, yeah. So I digress. So there's a Taylor Swift song about looking in the mirror. She can't stand looking in the mirror. She can look somewhere for hours, but she can't, stand looking in the mirror. So, and that's what you have to do. You gotta, you gotta look in the mirror. A lot of accountability, a lot of self-awareness. I think as a society, we lack self-awareness. We live in the age of narcissism. We just like to focus on ourselves and what we want, and just a bunch of selfish people. So the more selfish you are, then the less that you get to ask of others. Because if you're going to be selfish, then you shouldn't ask so much of others if you're not giving. It's give and take. It's the law of the land. That's how things work. So, with that being said, again, follow, subscribe, SA_Dockwell, DOCWEL. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok, SA_Doc. Follow me on YouTube, SA_Doc, and Twitter. Look me up on Twitter as well. I appreciate you tuning in. And if you have any stories that you'd like featured on the podcast, I would love to hear your stories. I would also like to hear your feedback. Any things that you want me to cover, any questions you have, just send me a DM. You can also email me, contact@sadoc.com. Again, that's contact, CONTACT, @sadoc.com. So again, be safe, peace and love. It's your boy SA Doc. This is The Drop, and I'm out.